For the 34 students at home watching this, let's get ready to rumble! Fin, Chapter 11, homework number 1. Dr. E here. What do you notice that is different about Dr. E today? Ask yourself that question. I'm not going to give you any hints. Homework 1. There are 3 steps in the process, no hints, of determining a fair price to pay for a business, for an investment, or for a project. Describe the 3 steps. First, step number 1. You must estimate cash flows that will be generated by the business. The costs, the outflows, and the inflows. 2, you must estimate an appropriate required rate of return. 3, you must use the net present value and the internal rate of return methods. Question number 2. What is K? How is it used? K is the required rate of return. It is the discount rate. It is the IY. K is used to find the present value of estimated cash flows. K is NPVI equals. That's what K is, the discount rate. What are the 2 dimensions of K? K is the cost of funds or the cost of capital. B, K is the return that justifies making an investment. What rate of return justifies a person or an investor putting their money into an investment? The required rate of return, K, has 3 components. What are they? We learned this in Chapter 7. Time or liquidity value. And you know what liquidity is, converting an asset to cash. Inflation and credit or premium risk, the risk of default or the risk of volatility. Okay? So time or liquidity value, inflation, credit or risk premium. These are the 3 components. These are the 3 things that comprise K. Question 6. You are trying to value a private business. You have worked with your CPA to forecast cash flows that you expect the business to generate. Now you have to come up with a discount rate. Of course your CPA knows GAAP, but he or she does not know a thing about discount rates. Okay, that is a finance issue, not an accounting issue. Use the following information to determine an appropriate discount rate. This is called the build-up method of creating a discount rate. The business only sells 2 products, so should there be a premium of 5 percentage points because they only sell 2 products, 2 product lines. You have never managed a business in the industry, so do you add 5 percentage points? Lack of experience, that's risk. One customer accounts for 40% of sales, so add 5 percentage points. Inventory is high. Excuse me. COVID. So do you add 2 percentage points? The company only has 1 geographic location, so do you add 3 percentage points? CDs yield 2%, stocks return 8%, bonds return 4%. The company's headquarters needs some renovations, so do you add 3 percentage points? You're going to have to increase the compensation you pay to employees, so do you add 3 percentage points? Well, once again, what is built into your required rate of return? Time or liquidity value, inflation, credit, or risk premium. There are certain items that I just read off that affect cash flow. They do not affect risk. There are certain items that affect risk or inflation or time value, And those are the things that you add in to your discount rate. So, the inventory that you can sell off is not a risk issue, it is a cash flow issue. Okay? The headquarters needs some renovations. That is a cash flow issue, not a time value, inflation, or credit risk problem. So you do not add that. You're going to have to increase the compensation you pay to employees. Cash flow issue, not a credit risk, inflation, or time or liquidity value issue. So what does that leave you? Well, first of all, you could so you're trying to value a private business. So you could at least earn the stock return of 8%. And that stock return of 8% reflects inflation and it reflects time or liquidity value. Okay? And so that stock return, that's for the overall market, so that's for a diversified portfolio. So you're going to have a premium, a risk premium, because the business only sells 2 products. All right? And what if one of those products develops a problem, or there's a substitute product is developed? That could be devastating, so that's a risk issue. Yes, you should add the 5 percentage points for that. You've never managed a business in the industry. That is, I think that's a risk issue. Let's see. One customer accounts for 40% of sales. That is a risk issue. You only have one location. That is a risk issue. So you start with 8%, then you add 5% for the limited product line. You add 5% because you've never managed a business. You add 5% for the limited customer list, and you add 3% for the limited location. And so that's 8 and 15 is 23 and 3, 24% is your required rate of return. Okay? That is your K. That's the build-up method. All right. It's question 7. So it's important in question 6 to distinguish between cash flow issues and time value, inflation, and credit risk issues. Why is it important for a company to cover its cost of capital? What happens to companies that do not cover their cost of capital? If a company is not covering its cost of capital, it is destroying value. Okay? So if it costs you 8% to get your hand to access capital, and you earn 7% on the investment you make with your capital, you're destroying value. Okay? Companies that do not cover their cost of capital, which are destroying value, either go out of business or they are purchased by other businesses. You cannot go long destroying value. You're going to disappear one way or another. All right, question 8. To find the WACC, the weighted average cost of capital, you must complete 4 steps. What are they? 1. Identify the sources of capital. Debt, preferred stock, common stock. 2. Determine the percentage each source of capital is of the total amount of capital. What percentage is debt? What percentage is preferred stock? What percentage is common stock? 3. Determine the cost of each source of capital. And 4. Multiply the percentage of capital by the cost of capital to give you the weighted cost for debt, the weighted cost for preferred stock, and the weighted cost for common stock, and add them up to get your weighted average cost of capital. Okay? All right, so that's question 8. We are finished with round 1 of chapter 11. We're going to take a brief break, sit on the stool, drink some water, let them squeeze the sponge over your head, spray you, give you some instructions, and send you back out for round number 2. Deep breaths, my friends, deep breaths.